I'm happy to have a chance to talk for a few minutes about my very dear friend who was my resilience mentor, Harriett Black. I met Harriett at work. It was my first job at a radio station. I wasn't far out of college, but she was 67 and had retired from his telephone company, and she loved the radio station so much she offered to volunteer there at a pretty important job, copy editing and coordinating these ticket giveaways where listeners call in and win tickets to Carnegie Hall or Lincoln Center. And she called herself the ticket lady. She took her unpaid part-time job extremely seriously. She was always 5 minutes early. She wore a suit. She brought a thermos of coffee every time she was at work. And before she left, she would dust her typewriter and tidy up her papers. She was really outspoken, very fun and gregarious, and she loved everything about New York and being a lifelong New Yorker. I don't think she ever considered living anywhere else. She had all the baseball movies and books and plays and restaurants she needed. And we became friends really quickly. So before long, she was taking me to some of these concerts and plays, and that was the start of a really long friendship. We talked on the phone each week, and she has been and was my most constant and honest friend. She didn't talk about her childhood a lot, but because she didn't like to dwell on the past, but I learned that her parents were Russian Jewish immigrants. Her life wasn't very easy. Her father worked really long hours, and her mother suffered from depression. She was responsible for her little sister during that time. Harriett loved school, but people told her higher education and careers weren't for girls, but she went ahead and went to college and got a job anyway. She was pulled together, and at work I really admired her because I was young and pretty insecure. I felt sort of stuck in my career and my friendships. I would have these recurring dreams at that time, and in the dream I'd be trying to ride my bike or walk, and my legs wouldn't work. They wouldn't go anywhere. And one time Harriett made an appearance in this dream, and she was cycling along beside me, telling me to get moving and keep moving right along. And I think that dream is not really far from the truth, because she really showed me that resilience isn't this talent that only some people have. It's not about ignoring problems and letting things just roll off your back. It's about putting one foot in front of the other and just having the faith that you're going to get somewhere if you keep doing that. From Harriett, I learned a few basic ingredients that we need to be resilient. One is honesty. She was a very candid person, and that meant that her compliments were sincere and they mattered, but it also meant that she had helpful critiques, and she would share them with you for your own good. Sometimes they were hard to hear. She was very forgiving and gave me a lot of grace. She didn't let me beat myself up over my mistakes. If I did something inconsiderate, like not show up on time for a date or not call her back, she let me know, but she forgave me and we moved on. And for my part, I had to forgive her too, because she was very direct, and if she didn't like a birthday gift, she would tell me the reason she didn't like it and ask me when I was going to go pick it up. And this is hurtful, but she usually realized, in fact, she always realized that she probably hurt my feelings, and she called me and apologized. Endurance was one of the harder things for Harriett, and this is a way that I kind of was able to step up and help. She really got tested in her ability to bounce back when she got older, because her eyesight started to fail and she wasn't able to do the things that she loved, like reading the paper and going to movies and going to museums. And at first I tried to point out to her that she loved the radio and her hearing was really great and she could still listen to the news and the classical music, but that didn't go over very well. So I tried another way to help her, and that was just listening and being there and listening to her disappointments and telling her that it sounded hard and I was sorry. And I think that helped her put those burdens down for a minute and just take a deep breath and say, well, I'm going to just keep moving right along. And then she would go outside and run the errands she'd like to run, even though it took 3 times as long and she might have to ask somebody for help. Harriet showed a lot of love to me and to her friends. She was a very good friend and worked hard at it. She made dates and took time to get people together. She remembered birthdays, and she made a point of not losing touch with people and being that person to make that first move. She didn't feel bad or angry that she was usually the person getting people together. And at her 90th birthday, I think it really shows what type of person she was, because she had friends there from all ages. There was someone who was 22, and then there was her boyfriend there who's 92. So I think her ability to make friends and be a good friend really helped her kind of live a long and pretty happy and successful life. I think about Harriet's resilience a lot now, and I've really counted on that a lot this last year with the pandemic, keeping moving right along, even though we really, seems like we can't really go anywhere. But I think her motto of keep moving right along is an example of God's grace and giving us a spirit, not of fear, but of power and love and self-control. I'm really happy I've had time to talk to you about my very dear friend and really miss her, but I'm going to keep moving right along, and I hope to see you all and see everyone in person really soon.